Chapter 1. The Resignation. Leon Vale had survived 5 years of hell. 5 years of perfection-obsessed meetings, luxury suit-clad arrogance, and a boss who didn't understand the concept of personal space or private life. And that boss had a name everyone in the country either admired or feared. Lucien Thorne. The youngest Enigma tycoon, billionaire, and self-proclaimed visionary of Thorne Global. To Leon, though, he was simply Mr. Overgrown Wallet with control issues. Leon adjusted his tie one last time and slipped the crisp resignation letter onto Lucien's glass desk. Mr. Thorne, I'm resigning. You'll have to find a new victim to bully starting next week. Lucien, sitting in his usual throne-like chair, didn't look up immediately. His pen glided across a document, sharp and precise, before he finally raised his gaze, calm, unreadable, terrifyingly beautiful. Resigning? His voice was smooth, low, too collected. Leon crossed his arms. Yes, normal people quit jobs, especially when they've been working for a narcissist since forever. Lucien's lips twitched, the faintest hint of amusement ghosting there. And what will you do after quitting? Find a nice Omega, maybe settle down, open a bakery. Who knows? Something that doesn't involve 24-hour phone calls about urgent meetings, or being chased by bodyguards to attend a dinner party I didn't even want to go to. Lucien's eyes darkened, something primal flickered in them. You're looking for a mate? Leon smirked. Yeah, maybe someone soft, sweet, who doesn't glare at me like a panther in a suit every morning. The silence stretched. Lucien's pen snapped in half. That evening, Leon hummed to himself while packing. He felt free. He'd already imagined his future, a calm life, zero stress, a cozy home with a sweet Omega who'd smile at his sarcasm instead of throwing spreadsheets at him. He tossed his tie aside, grinning. Goodbye, stress. Hello, peace. But as he zipped his suitcase, the sound of tires screeching outside made him pause. Through the window, a black luxury car stopped right in front of his building. His phone buzzed. Lucien, we need to talk. Leon rolled his eyes and typed back. Leon, we already did. I quit, remember? Go emotionally manipulate someone else. No reply. Instead, a knock. 3 sharp ones. Before Leon could even reach the door, it swung open. Lucien Thorne stood there in an immaculate black suit, the smell of his pheromones filling the air intoxicating, heavy, unmistakably possessive. Leon froze. Okay. Breaking and entering? That's a new level of unprofessional, boss. Lucien's tone was calm, too calm. You really thought you could just walk away from me? I don't belong to you, Lucien. Lucien's gaze softened for half a second before turning predatory again. You're wrong, Leon. You've belonged to me from the day you walked into my office 5 years ago, wearing that ridiculous tie and calling me a corporate vampire. Leon scoffed. You are a corporate vampire. You feed on people's sanity. Before he could finish, Lucien stepped closer, one hand grabbing Leon's wrist. A sharp sting of pheromones hit the air. Leon's head swam. Lucien? What the hell? Darkness. When Leon woke up, the world smelled of sandalwood and money. He blinked at the sight of a massive bed with silk sheets, sunlight spilling through tinted glass walls. His wrists, he yanked. Silk cuffs. Chained to the headboard. Oh, fantastic, he muttered. Kidnapped by my boss. I always knew this day would come. Footsteps echoed. Lucien entered, hair slightly disheveled, still wearing that cursed calm expression. Leon glared. Did you actually kidnap me? Or am I dreaming in a luxury hostage situation? Lucien stopped at the edge of the bed, his tone velvety but dangerous. You said you were going to find a mate. Leon narrowed his eyes. Yeah. Keyword. Find. Not get kidnapped by. Lucien's jaw clenched, voice dropping. You don't understand, Leon. You're mine. Leon blinked once. Okay, wow. Straight from zero to stalker in one sentence. Lucien leaned down, his pheromones flooding the air. The Enigma scent was thick, wrapping around Leon like invisible silk, hot, heavy, impossible to ignore. Lucien, stop that, I swear I'll— You'll what? Lucien whispered, voice low against his ear. Run. You can't even stand when I release my scent. Your body already recognizes me, Leon. Leon's cheeks flared red. Oh, please. Your cologne is what's suffocating me, not your stupid scent. Lucien smiled faintly, sarcastic even now. I adore that. Then, before Leon could protest, Lucien's fangs grazed the side of his neck, gentle but unmistakable. The moment they touched skin, heat flooded through him, golden sparks of energy wrapping his senses. The Enigma mark. Permanent. Leon gasped. You marked me? You insane, rich psycho! Lucien's hand cupped his cheek gently, eyes soft now, too sincere for someone who'd just committed romantic felony. I won't touch you beyond this, not until you want me to. But I can't let you leave me, Leon. Not when I've waited 5 years for you. Leon blinked furiously, his voice shaky despite his sarcasm. Great. I got kidnapped, marked, and promised celibacy. Living the dream. Lucien chuckled softly, pressing a kiss to his temple. You'll thank me later. Oh, sure. I'll send you a thank you card from the mental hospital. Lucien's laughter was deep and sincere and annoyingly beautiful. You're perfect, he murmured. Leon groaned. And you're deranged. Only for you. That night, while Lucien sat beside the bed, reading financial reports as if kidnapping someone was just another Tuesday, Leon huffed. Do you just chain people up whenever they resign, or am I special? Lucien smiled without looking up. Only you. Leon rolled his eyes. Lucky me. He tugged at the chains again, but they were soft, silky, and completely useless to break. He hated how safe they felt. Chapter 2. The Jealous Billionaire. Morning arrived with sunlight sliding through the glass walls of Lucien Thorne's penthouse and hitting Leon right in the face. He blinked at the ridiculous view of the city's skyline and muttered, Fantastic. Still kidnapped. Still in luxury prison. A soft chime answered him. The automatic curtains drew back farther, revealing Lucien standing beside a table set like a 5-star hotel breakfast. Croissants, smoked salmon, fruit carved into roses, even champagne. Leon squinted. Is this my ransom meal? Lucien poured him juice. Your breakfast. Right, because people in chains eat so freely. Leon rattled the silk cuffs still looped loosely around his wrists. Lucien had undone the locks last night but hadn't removed them entirely, calling them a decorative security. Lucien ignored the jab and motioned toward the food. Eat. You didn't have dinner. I wasn't hungry. I was drugged, Leon shot back, yet still reached for a croissant. And don't think fancy carbs are going to make me forgive the whole abduction thing. Lucien's smile was faint, eyes unreadable. You're free to leave any time. Leon paused mid-bite. Excuse me. Lucien tilted his head. I said you're free to leave. I simply thought you'd prefer to stay long enough to hear why I did it. Oh, sure, Leon said. The classic villain monologue before I escape. Go ahead. Lucien sat across from him, elbows on his knees, gaze soft but heavy with something darker. For 5 years, I watched people try to destroy everything I built. My company, my family name, even you. Leon blinked. Me? You don't remember, do you? Lucien's voice lowered. 3 years ago, someone tried to run you off the road after you left the office late. That wasn't random. They wanted to hurt me through you. Leon's sarcasm faltered for a second. That? I thought it was just bad luck and bad brakes. I replaced the car before you could notice the tampering. I dealt with the people responsible. The casual way Lucien said dealt with made Leon's stomach drop. After that, I promised myself that once the last threat was gone, I'd finally tell you the truth. Leon groaned, hiding behind his juice glass. And the truth is that you're a jealous psycho who thinks kidnapping equals courtship? Lucien's expression didn't change. I'm a jealous enigma who was too patient for 5 years. Great. Add creepy patience to your resume. Lucien leaned closer, voice gentle but absolute. I won't lose you, Leon. Not to some stranger. Not after waiting this long. Leon scoffed. You think you can chain me, bribe me, and suddenly I'll swoon? You've got too much money and too little sanity. Lucien's lips curved. Then I'll spend both on you. The following days became a war of gestures and sarcasm. Every morning, Leon woke to find new peace offerings waiting. Custom suits, designer watches, a limited edition wrist comm that probably cost more than his apartment. Every evening, Lucien appeared with dinner cooked by world-class chefs or, occasionally, disastrously by himself. When Leon caught Lucien burning pancakes one morning, he burst out laughing so hard he almost fell off the counter. Mr. Overgrown Wallet, you do realize you can just buy a cook instead of poisoning us both? Lucien looked genuinely sheepish, a rare expression on him. I wanted to make something with my hands for once. Well, congratulations, you've made smoke. Lucien only smiled, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and calmly put out the pan. Later that week, Leon found a velvet box on his nightstand. Inside, a platinum ring set with black diamonds. He stared at it, muttering, "This man doesn't know when to stop." The next morning, Lucien noticed the ring on Leon's finger. Leon crossed his arms defensively. "It's just because it matches my outfit. Don't read into it." Lucien's grin was small but victorious. "I won't." "You already are, aren't you?" "Completely." Leon threw a pillow at him. By the end of the month, Leon's protests had evolved into half-hearted sarcasm. He'd begun sleeping in Lucien's room because the guest suite's lighting was too bright, accepted a limited edition watch for time management purposes, and complained about Lucien's constant pampering while lounging in imported silk robes. Lucien Thorne never called him out on it. He simply kept smiling that soft, patient smile, every look radiating quiet possession. One evening, as they sat on the balcony watching the city lights, Leon muttered, "You really think love can be bought, huh?" Lucien turned his head, voice low, steady. "I'm not buying you, Leon. I'm proving that I'd give you the world if you asked." The words hung between them, heavy and disarming. Leon looked away quickly, pretending to admire the skyline. "That's a terrible line," he said. Lucien chuckled. "Yet you're blushing. I'm sunburned. It's midnight. Shut up." Lucien's laughter was soft, genuine, and so infuriatingly tender that Leon almost forgot to roll his eyes. By the time Lucien escorted him inside, Leon was muttering about stupid billionaires with stupid romantic faces. Lucien merely brushed his fingers along Leon's marked neck and whispered, "Mine." Leon glared. "Possessive much?" Lucien smiled. "Always." Leon sighed, tugging at the platinum ring again but not removing it. "You're impossible." "Then stop trying to resist me," Lucien murmured. "Just be impossible with me." Leon tried not to smile. He failed spectacularly. Chapter 3. The Bribed Marriage. Leon Vale had officially seen everything. After a month of non-stop luxury attacks from limited edition suits to diamond-studded cufflinks that could blind a man, Lucien Thorne, the nation's most feared Enigma tycoon, was currently kneeling in the middle of the penthouse living room holding a diamond the size of Leon's sarcasm. Lucien's voice was calm, smooth as always. "Marry me, Leon." Leon blinked, then blinked again. "That rock looks like it could cause an earthquake." Lucien tilted his head. "I wanted something as brilliant as you." "Oh, please," Leon groaned. "If I say yes, will you stop trying to turn me into a walking jewelry display?" "Maybe," Lucien said with infuriating innocence. Leon narrowed his eyes. "You're not even trying to hide your manipulation anymore, are you?" "No," Lucien admitted without shame. Leon sighed dramatically, stood up and crossed his arms. "Lucien, listen carefully. You're rich, insane, and obsessively in love with me, which is weirdly flattering. But I'm not marrying you just because you think you can outspend my resistance." Lucien didn't move. He just smiled softly, eyes glowing faintly with that Enigma warmth. "Then I'll do something else." The next day, Leon walked into the living room and froze. There, under a spotlight, sat his dream car, the rare vintage model he'd drooled over for years. but never been able to find. He turned slowly to Lucien, who was leaning against the car like a smug deity in a suit. You didn't. Lucien's smile widened. I did. Leon pointed an accusing finger. You bribed me with horsepower. Lucien shrugged. I'm courting you in a language you understand: luxury and speed. Leon groaned, muttering, You're impossible. But 2 days later, he was seen driving the car around the private driveway like a gleeful child while Lucien watched fondly from the balcony. A week later, Lucien unveiled another surprise. Leon, he said casually during breakfast, I registered a fashion label under your name. Vale Atelier. Leon dropped his spoon. You, what? You've always had an eye for style. I thought it was time the world saw that too. Leon glared, flustered. You can't just buy me a company. Lucien's lips curved faintly. I can, and I did. Leon's voice cracked halfway between anger and awe. Lucien Thorne, you're completely obsessed with you? Lucien finished for him, tone perfectly polite. Yes, I know. Leon buried his face in his hands. This is insane. You're insane. Lucien leaned closer, murmuring near his ear. And yet you're smiling. Leon's lips twitched. That's because I'm mentally preparing your murder, not saying yes. 2 weeks later, Leon's resistance finally met its match, a private island vacation. Lucien had arranged everything: white sands, turquoise waters, luxury villas, and a staff so discreet it felt like paradise had signed a non-disclosure agreement. When Leon stepped off the yacht, he glared half-heartedly. This is bribery, Lucien. Lucien smirked. You say that every time you enjoy something I give you. Leon's eyes narrowed. I don't enjoy you. Lucien stepped closer, his voice a whisper against Leon's ear. Then why do you look at me like that? Leon immediately turned away, face heating up. Because I'm trying to figure out if I can swim far enough to escape your romantic madness. Lucien chuckled. You'd miss me before you reached the next island. By sunset, they were sitting on the beach, champagne glasses in hand. The orange sky reflected in Lucien's eyes, softening all the sharpness in him. He looked at Leon, truly looked, and said quietly, I've waited too long to have you beside me. I don't want to waste another day pretending I can live without you. Leon, who'd been ready to throw another sarcastic remark, paused. Something about the way Lucien said it, the way his usually commanding voice cracked slightly, made his chest ache. He tried to look away, but Lucien caught his hand and thumb brushing the Enigma mark on his neck. I'm not asking for perfection, Leon. Just stay. Let me love you the way I want to. Leon sighed. You're marrying a menace, not a maiden. Lucien smiled, the first real smile Leon had ever seen from him. I know, and I wouldn't want anyone else. The marriage that broke the internet. The news hit every network within hours. The feared billionaire Enigma, Lucien Thorne, marries his longtime secretary, Alpha Leon Vale. Business forums exploded. Social media melted. Stocks of Thorne Global shot up simply because people were terrified to gossip negatively. Through it all, Leon rolled his eyes, muttering, Great. Now everyone thinks I married you for money. Lucien adjusted his tie, calm as ever. You didn't? Leon shot him a look. Don't test me, Thorne. Still, during the private ceremony held in a secluded garden surrounded by only a handful of witnesses, Leon's expression softened. When Lucien slid the ring onto his finger, he smirked but didn't pull away. Lucien whispered, Mine. Leon whispered back, Still not your property. Lucien only kissed his knuckles and said, My heart disagrees. And for once, Leon didn't argue. Honeymoon phase and mild chaos. They didn't have one honeymoon trip. They had 3. Lucien planned each one around Leon's favorite destinations: Paris for fashion, Milan for luxury, and Bali for the peace he claimed to crave, but ruined by arguing with Lucien every 5 minutes. Lucien, true to his word, didn't consummate their marriage yet. He slept beside Leon every night, holding him close but never crossing the line. To him, this just having Leon in his arms was enough for now. Leon would often grumble about Lucien's clinginess, only to curl into his chest minutes later, mumbling something about cold weather. Lucien would just smile and press a soft kiss to his forehead, whispering, "You can call it whatever you like, Leon. I'll still hold you until you fall asleep." Leon's response came muffled from under the blanket. "You're ridiculous," Lucien chuckled, hopelessly. And for once, Leon let him be. Because even if he'd never admitted out loud, falling asleep wrapped in Lucien's warmth felt dangerously close to peace. Chapter 4. The courting never stops. 10 months into their marriage, Leon realized something horrifying. His husband, the billionaire menace, had no off switch when it came to love. Every single morning began the same way, with Lucien pressing a kiss to his neck, his warm breath teasing against his skin as his pheromones wrapped around him like silk. "Lucien," Leon grumbled, half asleep, "do you really have to scent me before breakfast?" Lucien's lips curved in that infuriatingly soft smile. "You're my husband. I like reminding you of it." "Yeah, well, I'm also your employee, so maybe scent me after I clock out." Lucien didn't even blink. "No, I prefer my secretary smelling like my alpha." The man was impossible, and yet somehow Leon's heart betrayed him every time, fluttering shamelessly at the words, "my alpha." After their honeymoon ended, Leon had gone back to work as Lucien's secretary because, as he'd dramatically declared, "I'm not some rich house cat lounging around in silk pajamas." Lucien, naturally, bought him 6 sets of silk pajamas anyway. Every day at the office, fresh flowers arrived: roses, lilies, orchids, and once, a bouquet shaped like a smug little Lucien chibi face. "Sir," his assistant whispered one morning, watching Leon shove the bouquet into a corner, "you know the CEO personally delivers those, right?" Leon froze. "He what?" And as if summoned, Lucien appeared in the doorway, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened, holding a thermos. "I thought you might skip lunch again," he said casually, setting it on Leon's desk. "Your favorite soup." Everyone in the room went silent. The employee's eyes sparkled with pure romantic gossip energy. "I'm firing everyone who looks at me like that," Leon muttered, hiding his burning face behind his monitor. But if Lucien's love was overwhelming, Leon's jealousy was worse. It started small, overhearing 2 Omega employees giggling in the corridor. "Did you see the boss's smile today? He's so charming." "Oh, totally. If he wasn't married." Leon's pen snapped in half. That evening, Lucien returned home to find his husband sitting cross-legged on the couch, arms folded, glaring like a cat guarding a milk bowl. "Something wrong?" Lucien asked, amused. "Your Omega employees need to stop swooning over you," Leon snapped. "It's bad for productivity." Lucien chuckled softly and sat beside him, pulling him close. "Are you jealous, my love?" Leon scoffed. "Me? Jealous? Of your ridiculous charm and tragic good looks? Absolutely not." Lucien kissed his cheek. "I'll tell them to stop. But you should know." His voice dropped low, warm and teasing. "You're the only one I ever see." Leon grumbled, but leaned into the touch anyway. "You're insufferable," Lucien whispered. "Only for you." Their life settled into a rhythm, chaotic, loud, and full of laughter. Lucien cooked breakfast every morning, and Leon always pretended to complain about the mess, even though he secretly loved the sight of his husband in an apron. Lucien still sent flowers to his office. Leon still grumbled about them. They still ended up cuddling every night, wrapped in each other's scent. And one night, as moonlight spilled across their bed, Leon finally pulled Lucien close and murmured against his lips, "Lucien, stop waiting for permission." Lucien froze, eyes widening in disbelief. "Are you sure?" Leon rolled his eyes, cheeks flushed. "I married you, didn't I? Now shut up and—" Lucien didn't let him finish the sentence. That night, Their world blurred laughter, kisses, whispered names, soft gasps echoing through the penthouse. Lucien was gentle but reverent, as if worshipping something divine. From that moment on, their love was no longer restrained. It became a constant dance, teasing, chaotic, and beautifully raw. Lucien never stopped courting him. Even after marriage, even after everything, his devotion only grew. And Leon, for all his sarcasm and mock complaints, had finally surrendered to it utterly, hopelessly, gloriously in love. Chapter 5. The baby, the banter, the bliss. 2 months after their first consummation, their daily life had faded into a comfortable domestic chaos again, until Leon fainted face first into his omelet during Sunday brunch. At first, Lucien thought his husband had finally fallen asleep mid-sarcasm again, a reasonable assumption, given Leon's talent for passing out anywhere that had decent food and air conditioning. But when Leon didn't move, Lucien's chair screeched back so fast it almost fell. "Leon! Leon!" By the time the doctor arrived, Lucien was a trembling mess, holding his husband's hand like it was the last anchor to sanity. And then came the words that flipped their world upside down. "Congratulations, Mr. and Mr. Thorne. You're pregnant." The silence lasted approximately 3 seconds before Leon bolted upright like a resurrected banshee. "You what, Ed, me pregnant?" The doctor blinked. Biologically speaking," Leon pointed dramatically at Lucien. You! You did this to me." Lucien, wide-eyed and pale, looked like his soul just short-circuited. "I swear I used protection. I mean, maybe not pheromones. Oh my God, I love you." The doctor quietly excused himself, muttering something about new levels of chaos and legendary couples. From that day on, their penthouse transformed into a comedy stage disguised as a pregnancy home. Leon's mood swings could rival the stock market. One moment, he'd be hurling a pillow at Lucien's head. "You did this to me, you possessive walking credit card." The next, he'd crawl into Lucien's lap teary-eyed. "You still love me even when I yell at you, right?" Lucien always smiled. Soft, patient, absolutely lovesick. Always, even when you threaten me with my own credit card. He was ridiculous, really. Lucien pampered him like a king disguised as a pregnant alpha. A custom baby room painted in warm gold and cream. A crib that probably cost more than a house. A daily schedule of massages, meals, and mood stabilization snacks, which were just cupcakes. And nightly serenades because Lucien swore music helped the baby sleep. Leon would pretend to complain but secretly melt inside every time Lucien's low voice filled the room with soft humming. Pregnancy made Leon even sassier and somehow more vulnerable. He'd glare at his swollen belly and mumble, "I swear, this kid better come out with my hair and my patience." Lucien, rubbing his back affectionately, would reply, "Then our baby will be bald and grumpy?" Lucien, "Yes, love? Shut up before I file for divorce and name the baby after your worst enemy." Lucien laughed every time, because even through the banter, there was something sacred in the way Leon's hand rested protectively over his belly. 9 months later, their penthouse was filled with chaos and love, and Lucien, pacing outside the delivery room, looked like a billionaire who'd forgotten how to breathe. When the nurse finally emerged, smiling, she said words Lucien never expected to hear in his lifetime. "It's a healthy baby boy, an Omega." Everyone froze. An Omega, born to an alpha Enigma pair. A rarity so astonishing that even the doctor muttered, "This is once in a generation." But none of that mattered to Lucien, because inside that room, Leon lay exhausted but glowing, holding their tiny son, wrapped in soft blankets. Lucien entered quietly, his usual composure gone. He knelt beside the bed, cupping Leon's cheek, eyes wet with love. Leon looked up at him, smiling tiredly. "You're crying, big guy." Lucien leaned down, pressing a kiss to his husband's forehead, and then to their baby's tiny hand. His voice broke with emotion. "You chained my heart long before I chained your hands." Leon laughed softly through tears. "You're still insane." He reached out, threading his fingers through Lucien's. "Oh, but you're mine." Their son, tiny, warm, and perfect, wriggled in Leon's arms. Lucien sat beside them, one hand cradling both his loves. The once ruthless, untouchable billionaire now spent his nights singing lullabies, his mornings making baby bottles, and his afternoons being called Daddy Menace by a smirking Leon. Their life was still chaotic, still full of teasing, shouting, laughter, and love. But as Lucien watched Leon cuddle their newborn Omega son against his chest, he realized this was the bliss he had waited his whole life for. And Leon, closing his eyes as Lucien kissed his hair, realized something too. Maybe insanity wasn't so bad. Not when it loved him this much.